In today's video, we're going to talk about what I've been working on, how Python program's going. Uh, if I have time, we're going to check out what's going on in the news and just have a little bit of fun and catch up because it's been, I think, about a week since I've done a video. So let's hack at it. Okay, so let's catch up on what I've been working on. First, I signed up for Code Academy. I think I mentioned that already, but if I haven't, I signed up for Code Academy for the Pro course or program. It's been pretty good. The advisors are good. They are there to help and answer any questions. The course itself, I'm finding is a little bit of a challenge because they're they're adding in extra code or advanced code in some of the actual exercises. So you're going through it, and all of a sudden they tell you to do this exercise, and then there's advanced code there. Like you're like, I don't understand it. Like I haven't covered this yet. So what is this? Like I know there was a define function, I guess you'll call it, a statement, define, and it said define something, and it had in brackets. And I was like, okay, what am I trying to define? And then it said, well, I was working on Boolean at that point, Boolean statements, and it was saying like, make this one true or false or whatever. I'm like, but what does that mean? Like, I don't understand what that first statement means. So then I had to, connect with one of the advisors and say, okay, what does this mean? Like, can you break it down for me so I know exactly what it means and how to work with it. So he broke it down. He says, yeah, it should be covered. And then he goes, if it's not, it's covered later. But it's one of those things, well, I need to know it now as I'm working with it, so it makes sense. And so I can understand, I can read through the code. So something just that I found with the Code Academy Pro, I'm working through right now. I find because of the advisors, I'm going through it a lot faster, so that's really good. And hopefully by the end of December, I'll have a base knowledge of Python programming that at least I'll be able to write some code and start kind of working for that and then start working on more advanced things for in the new year. So I finished setting up my VMware for Kali Linux for the pen testing book that I'm reading. Got everything set up. Now, the only problem I'm running into that I need your help and I want your guidance, recommendation, is I had in the back of my mind that I would need a license for all the Microsoft virtual machines. But I was like, okay, maybe not. Maybe there is, test images that they have in VMware Fusion that I can use to be able to do some testing. From what I'm finding out, from what I'm understanding, I'm not sure about this, but I think I need a license for each installation, which is kind of frustrating because I only need it for testing, and I don't want to go and purchase the licenses for 2000 XP server, all those ones, since I'm only going to use it for testing purposes, and I'm not going to be setting up a network or anything along that line. So it's kind of one of those things like, how do I do this cost effective so that I can do testing that is just part of the learning process of penetration testing? So comment below. I want to know how you guys do it. How do you guys set up different VM sessions or VMwares that you can run tests against, that you don't break the bank, that you have to purchase all these licenses? So comment below. I'd really like to hear how you deal with that. Do you purchase a trial, or do you grab a trial and just run with the trial? Just like to hear kind of your feedback. What else have I been working on? Cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency has been going really well. I don't know if you've been following Bitcoin. It's been going up and up and up. I had a little bit of a crash last week, I think it was, with Bitcoin Cash, and then it corrected itself. So I was just looking at a truck there that kind of swerved. So yeah, it was Bitcoin Cash, and then from there, just been going up. Having a problem with Toronto and Canadians. Now, if you're in Canada and you're working with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, let me know which website you use as an exchange. Right now, I'm trying to get set up with CoinSquare .io. So far, pretty good. Good in the customer service. Just a few little glitches with the verification that the customer service and I are working through. I think it was Quadra CX. I might be bastardizing their name and not saying it properly. I'll put the link to their name below. So far, I can see mixed reviews, and my experience is the same as the ones that I've had a not good experience with them. I'm not going to say negative. I mean, if you're dealing with exchange and you transfer money, that's what you expect. But I expect, customer service, customer relations, help to verify the account. And for some reason, their system wanted to verify me through Equifax. Through that process, I have an alert on my account. We talked about this before, a fraud alert. Because of Equifax got compromised, I put a fraud alert on my account so that any creditors that are trying to run a credit report against my account, it gets flagged, and then they have to call me and say, I am creditor X or lender or whatever that may be. I want to run a report, and I can say yes or no. Well, Quadra CX ran into that alert, and then because their system for some reason wanted to verify me through Equifax, they ran into this alert, and then they're like, well, we can't verify your account. Well, I said, well, the alert tells you to do this. Yeah, we don't do that. Either it is or it isn't. It's like, but that's because of alert, and Equifax got compromised going back and through it, and they're just like, nope, so we don't do it. So their fix, which is kind of concerning me, and that's something, if you deal with cryptocurrency, I want to kind of hear your feedback, is they want me to send a US wire transfer to a Polish account an amount of like $500 US. So it's like, okay, hold on. That's like red flags for me. Like, okay, why would I need to do that to verify my account when Equifax is giving you the process of what you need to do and you don't want to do it? So that's like red flags for me. So I'm kind of concerned about that. So comment below, tell me what you think about, different exchanges and, how you transfer your money and your experience from dealing with exchange to exchange. So far, like I said, CoinSquare has been really good. I work with Coinbase, which has a limit on how much you can transfer, and CoinSquare is supposed to be a little bit better on how much you can transfer and the conversion. So really excited to kind of work with them and see how that works out. So that's what I've been working on, just to kind of give you a recap. I know this is a little bit of a longer section, so I'm almost at Boston Pizza right now. We'll catch up a little bit later and see if I can cover the news.
Okay, so I'm going to try to keep this video a little bit shorter because I know I ranted on at the start. I'm going to cover one article, which is holiday scams and malware campaigns. Let me see here. It's from United States Computer Emergency Readiness Team. The link's down below. What they're talking about is holiday scams, malware campaigns, and reminds users to remain vigilant when browsing or shopping online this holiday season. Emails and e-cards from unknown senders may contain malicious links. And it might contain malicious links even if it's from a known person, right? They might have signed up for an e-card system and not knowing that it sends out malware. So just be mindful of that. Emails and e-cards from unknown senders may contain malicious links. Fake advertisements or shipping notifications may deliver attachments infected with malware. Spoof emails, messages, and phony posts on social network sites may request support for fraudulent causes. To avoid seasonal campaigns that could result in security breaches, identity theft, or financial loss, users are encouraged to take the following actions. So I give you a list here and I'll read through them. Avoid following unsolicited links or download attachments from unknown sources. Refer to our tips to learn about shopping safety online, avoiding social engineering and phishing attacks. So they have tips there. Visiting the Federal Trade Commission Consumer Information page on charity scams. This is US based, so if you're in the US, that'll help. If you believe you are a victim of a holiday phishing scam and malware campaign, consider the following actions. File a complaint with the FBI, or for here in Canada, just your local police department. Report the attack to the police and file a report with the Federal Trade Commission. Contact financial institution immediately and close any accounts that may have been compromised. Watch for unexpected charges to your accounts. Something to know here, if you're doing shopping online, contact your bank and see if they have some protection. Use only certain accounts, and I recommend using your credit card. because a credit card generally have a better fraud protection system. So, and keep low amounts on like available for your credit card. So for example, if you have a credit card, don't go over like $1,500 as your limit, right? If it's the one that you're using to shop online, and then shop and then, you know, pay it off and go for it. This is a debt management advice as well as, you know, security, because if you get breached and you lose maybe $500, $1,000, $1,500, it's money, but it doesn't really put you in too much debt, right? Versus if you had a $5,000, $10,000 limit, it can put you into a good debt. So it's you know, it's hard. And now I know with the credit card companies, if it is fraud and they do an investigation, they find it, a lot of times they'll reimburse you. So it's good to know if you're, as you're going through the holiday seasons and you're shopping. Immediately change any passwords you might have revealed, and do not use the password in the future. Avoid reusing passwords on multiple sites. See choosing and protecting passwords for more information. So one thing that we're talking about here is these passwords, and just that last point is that you want to make sure that you're not, as you're setting up accounts, I know a lot of these e-commerce solution sites ask for username, password, email address, things like that, so you can create accounts so you can track your package. When doing that, don't use the same password that you use for your bank, your social sites, and any other sites. Go to a password generator, and I'll have a link down below of one that, you know, that I'd recommend. And here's a strategy that I do, so you know. I go to these password generators. I generate, like, you know, a complicated password, 15 characters using special characters, all that. I take it out, I post it in a notepad. Then I change the characters again, right? And I'll play with them a bit. And then that will be my one password for that one site. And then if I have to go to another site, I do it again. Now you're probably thinking, oh my God, Brandon, and then where am I going to save all these passwords? I have another document, or separate documents and categories, that then I save that's encrypted. So yes, it is layers of security, but again, if you're dealing with your banking information, doing online banking, you want to make that sure that's as secure as possible. If you're looking at your bills and your services, you want to make sure that's completely separate and different passwords for each, and that's secure as possible. If you're doing social media and marketing and all that, those sites need to be separate. So those categories need to be separate, and in those categories, you need to have separate passwords for each, right? And that's complex, complicated, two-factor authentication that it might email you out a security code or text you out through your phone, that you not only just put you in your complex password, but you're also getting a verification that you have to authenticate as well. Doing these levels of security is going to help you stay more protected. So again, these are things you need to think about as you're going through the holiday seasons, because you're going to see drive-by attacks where you're going to go by like a site and a pop-up is going to come up, or there's ad going to be there, and maybe it's going to interest you because they're going to market directly to you from your cookies, right? And they're also going to be like, for me, I'm going to use an example, say it's golf, right? And I'm going to go to this site and I'm like, oh, I want to shop with this, and I'll see on, you know, 20% off new golf clubs, or, you know, golf balls. And I'm like, oh, I'm interested. And I'll click on that, and sure enough, I just launched, you know, some malware onto my system, unknowingly to me, that there was a malware in that ad, and then now I've launched it. So really keep, you know, in mind of where you're clicking, what you're going to. Like a lot of times I tell people, if you're going to click on something, right click on it, copy it down, put it into Notepad, and see where it's actually taking you. Right? And there's some things that run in the back end that you might not know of. It's actually in the website. So just be very mindful of where you're shopping, especially I know more and more people are shopping online as we become evolved. And one thing, just want to kind of put a little bit of a rant here. I know more companies are transferring over to the online service. Like you go into stores now and you try to look for something. They're like, oh, you saw it on our website? Sorry, that's actually on our online store. You have to order online. And people and companies are starting to reduce their inventory locally on their local retail stores, and now making it more online available online, and then you have to shop there. I think there's a little downfalls for that. I think it leaves some issues. One is, you know, the customer service and relation, but also then you look at, you know, the vulnerability and the threat, the attack vectors that can happen now because people are always going to that. So just some concerns for myself as a shopper and someone looking at security. So that's it for today's video. Again, I don't want to make it too long. I know it's pretty long as it is. So just don't forget, Software is hackable, being connected is vulnerable. I'll see you next video.